This is not the beginning. It's not the end either. I guess I'll call it the middle, but this is where I have to start. About a week ago, I was at a family member's house. We were all there, just laughing, smiling, having a good time. All of a sudden, we hear 3 thunderous bangs at the door, bangs so hard that the door looks like it's about to come off its hinges. We look through the glass, we see all black, bulletproof vests, blacker guns on hips. It's the Cook County Sheriff's. Everyone's looking confused, like, what is going on? My daughter is scared. She's trembling. And I tell my family, this is for me. And they say, you don't know that it's for you. I said, it is for me. And I walked towards the door. I said, I have to go out there. They say, don't go out there. You don't have to. And I say, I do. This is for me. So let's rewind. Let's go back to the night this all began. On a bitter January night in Chicago, I got into a black Ford Explorer with a man I once trusted. We were supposed to talk, maybe kiss. Instead, he drove me to a dark park. See, that moment is the moment that replays in my mind all the time on a constant loop, because we didn't start in a park that night. But that's a story for a different day. That moment when I was in that dark park, like I remember, like I don't know, I feel like it's burned in my mind, because that was the last moment the happy, bubbly version of me existed. That was the moment that Chris, the real me, died inside. The light, the laughter, the part of me that felt safe in this world. He took all of that from me. That night, I feel like he killed me that night, because I have never been the same. Because that night, inside that park, inside his car, Wayman Freelon raped me. I did everything right. I went to the hospital. I let them swab my body. A forensic rape kit was performed. The hospital called the police. It has been 158 days since that night, and my rapist hasn't been arrested or questioned. I call the police over and over and over again. Every time I ask, I get the same response. We're waiting on the rape kit. 14 months, 2 years. That's the average time to wait for a rape kit to be processed. Survivors like myself are told to wait in silence while the people who broke them live freely. My rapist's name is Wayman Freelon, a Chicago businessman, a owner of a bar called the Smoke-Filled Room. He's a leader in his fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, but he wears a mask. At the hospital, I was asked who raped me. I couldn't say it. I refused to say it. But when the rape counselor looked at me and asked, why are you protecting someone who did this to you? I wrote his name. When I was discharged, I made several posts on social media. I said what happened. I named him. The next day, he filed a petition in domestic violence court, trying to silence me. The judge did deny his request for an order of protection, but they gave him what he really wanted, a gag order. I was legally silenced until June 23rd, when the judge dismissed his petition. 2 days later, he filed it again. Wayman's petition, his second petition, set everything into motion. It's why days later, I found myself staring down armed officers on my family's front porch, their neighbors watching in terror. Here's what happened when I opened that door. I walked calmly towards the sheriff's and I closed the door behind me because I don't want my daughter to see her mom have to face law enforcement. Once I get out there, the sheriff say, "Are you Crystal?" And I say, "Yes." And they explain to me that they have a petition for an order of protection. And before they can finish, I say, "I know from Wayman Freeland." So in front of the sheriffs, I flip through this paperwork. I see on page 9, it talks about returning of property. Wayman has wrote, "The respondent took my cup holder from my car." Let's be very clear. The last time I was ever in Wayman's car, it was January 30th. He filed this paperwork June 25th. That was almost 146 days. 146 days between January. What's even more strange and just dangerous is that Wayman wants law enforcement to facilitate the transfer of his $4 cup holder. But everyone knows it's not about a cup holder. He wants to prolong our interactions. He wants to control me. He wants to find a way to humiliate me. And then I read further about these incidents where Wayman claimed I harassed him. Anytime I mention the word rape or Wayman Freeland, Wayman thinks it's harassment. I have never contacted Wayman. We're not friends on social media, so how does he know about this harassment? Wayman goes and looks for it. Wayman, his family members, and his supporters go to Facebook. They type my name in the search bar and they look for the things that I have posted on social media. What stood out about his March 21st allegations is that it's a direct copy and a paste of an email that he sent his attorney. This email let CPD know that he was violating no order of protection by stalking. But at the bottom it says, it has never been about any injury or wrongdoing to her. This has always been about harassment and exposing our relationship while exaggerating and ignoring the fact. He's denying the harm that he has caused to me. He's minimizing his actions. He raped me. He may deny it, but he did. He drove me to an industrial area. I still don't know where it is. He put the fear of God in me, so I wasn't even going to report the rape, but he raped me so savagely. That's the only reason why I ended up at the hospital. But let's not talk about the rape. Let's just talk about what he admitted to doing. On February 3rd, we were both in the courtroom. A judge asked him if he had ever choked me. He said no. He said, "Well, you know when you place a hand when you're kissing someone." So then the judge says, "Has she ever complained about choking or the placement of your hands on her neck?" He said, "Yes, because the first time we were intimate, my hands were around her neck." And she said, "Oh, I didn't like that." So what Wayman is doing here is what a lot of abusers do. He's minimizing. Wayman Freeland strangled me. He was laying on his back. I was straddling him. He reached up and wrapped his hands tightly around my neck. I didn't say, "I don't like that. I don't like that." I jumped back from the bed and I started cursing. I was hysterical. I was screaming. I was crying. And you need to understand, Wayman Freeland is a huge man. He's 6'4", 270 pounds. He looks like he can be an NFL defensive tackle. So imagine the strength and power a man of that size has in his hands. And those hands were wrapped around my neck. He could have killed me. Domestic violence is normally a precursor for homicide, especially strangulation. He violated my order of protection. He's still not arrested. He stalked me. I had an order of protection that told him to stay away from me. Don't put me under surveillance. No third-party harassment. No third-party contact. He didn't care. He cyberstalked. His friends cyberstalked. His friends contacted me. And on January 23rd, Wayman strangled me. until I couldn't breathe. The next morning, I woke up with painful purplish bruises on my chest. Some people call them hickeys, but I'm gonna call them what they are, bruises. I don't remember how I even got those bruises. I believe it could be because of the strangulation. So this man, he has raped me, he's marked me, he strangled me, and he stalked me, but there has never been any harm, any wrongdoing, or injury to me. And that's because Wayman, he doesn't see me as a person. He doesn't see what he has done as abuse. Then I look at the February 3rd allegations. Spite of the, I can't really read the misspellings, spite of the pre-existing cross petitions being handled in court, the respondent has continued to harass, attack, and harm me, my business, my family, my friends, my business, and my fraternal relationships. She has made false statements and filed false reports as she categorizes abusive relationship in her statements to the court. These statements can be falsified. He meant verified. Further, in his petition, Wayman outlines how I harassed and attacked him. The way that I did this is I posted court transcripts and the documents. These court transcripts and documents, these are Wayman's words. He said I attacked him with what he said because he's afraid of the truth getting out. He's afraid of the world seeing the Wayman Freeland that I know. He's saying, in essence, that these court transcripts are harming him, but these are his words. How exactly is he harmed by his words? He said, I made false statements as I categorized an abusive relationship. I testified that he strangled me and that I wasn't comfortable with that. And he confirmed that in court multiple times, so I'm not really understanding why. These police reports that I filed, they were truthful. He cyberstalked me. His emails are the proof. And then I look further in a petition where it says payment of losses because of abuse. He's asking a domestic violence court to award him close to $18,000, $10,000 for earnings, $7,500 for attorney fees, $500 for ink, stationery, parking, and printing. And this is what abusers do. This is called financial abuse. They will do anything. They will go to any low to try to stay in their victims' lives, to try to hurt. So now Wayman wants to hurt me financially. He wants the court to order me to pay him $18,000. And I bet you that Wayman wants this $18,000 in small increments so that I'm indebted, so I can have frequent interactions with him. And then I look over to the section that says, has there ever been another order of protection entered between the petitioner and respondent? His answer should have been yes, because that's correct. I have had an order of protection against him. But here he falsifies this section. He's trying to stack the deck against me. He knows that judges in domestic violence courts have to decide a lot of cases effectively and quickly based on the evidence in front of them. He was trying to show the judge that I was violent by saying, look, 3 people have and or had cases against her. But the judge saw right through Wayman. He wasn't granted an order of protection. He has to have a trial where he can prove these allegations. So these people did file. Wayman's sister, she filed an order of protection, like Wayman, to prevent me from staying online, that she cyberstalked me. But if we look at these screenshots that Wayman sent in his email, we see that his sister forgot to crop out her Facebook profile picture. That's how I knew. And Wayman Freeland has never had an order of protection against me, ever. It was denied, then it was dismissed. But this name, Onyekan Umo, he put that name in the paperwork to be cruel. He knew that 3 people would see this paperwork: the judge, the clerk, and me. Onyekan is the father of my deceased daughter. She died as an infant and never got to walk, to go to high school, to go to prom. She would never get those things. So there was no purpose to add her father to this paperwork other than Wayman wanted to be cruel. He wanted to harm me because anytime I'm hurt, Wayman gets pleasure from it. Then I look at the relief that Wayman wants. He said, respondent to be denied to use my name, the name of my associates, friends, memberships, family, businesses, names, images, or likeness in a public forum. So here Wayman is saying he wants a gag order. He doesn't want a gag order because I harassed him. I've never contacted him. I've never made any threats at all. The only thing I did is tell the truth about what's going on, the truth about what Wayman, his friends, and his family members have done. He doesn't want the truth to come out. You see here, even the clerk wrote, no contacts by any means, because that's what domestic violence court does. What Wayman wants is something that's unconstitutional that even domestic violence court can't order, because all Americans by right have the right to speech. But Wayman, he wants this instant gag order. He wants to silence me. Wayman, he's smart. He knows that the First Amendment grants us freedom of speech, but he doesn't see me as a person. And he feels that his discomfort with the truth, even though he said these things under oath, that they trump my right to speak. I just continue to look at the things that Wayman is saying. He is the victim of defamation, but he's the person here filing petitions against me with nothing but false allegations. So Wayman should understand something. Abusers like him should understand something. These documents are public record, and there is a difference between defamation and documentation. These are his words. I'm not attacking him. I'm quoting him. Every word I post, he said under oath on the record. If he feels like it's an attack, maybe he should question his actions, not my voice. And if telling the truth publicly feels like a threat to him, that means that he has spent too long being able to get away with the abuse that I experienced. And I filed a motion to dismiss, which will be heard on Thursday. And if his petition is allowed to continue, it'll be another 5 months in court, another 5 months of him harassing me, harassing my family, traumatizing my daughter. Another 5 months of Wayman taking court resources away from people who actually need them. Domestic violence is a leading cause of death among women, and Wayman shouldn't be allowed to take away these services that these women and men so urgently need. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I'm just speechless because I don't understand how the criminal justice system, a system that is created to help others, is constantly letting Wayman get away with this. It should be a system that really does protect victims. But that's not what I've been experiencing for the past month. I've been experiencing a system that allows abusers to win. Because these abusers, what we see is that most time they have more money, more influence, more power than their victims, and they use that power. The same way that Wayman is using his power against me. This is not anything new. My grandmother used to have this saying where she said, don't hate the player, hate the game. So this is the game that abusers like Wayman play. They abuse in private, they harm in private. But in public, they present themselves to be these wonderful people who do wonderful things for the community. And the only way that they can keep these reputations is if they keep their victims silent. And normally they do keep their victims silent. And they do that through abuse. They do that through gaslighting. Oh, no one's going to believe you. They do that through love bombing. The time before when Wayman abused me, he said, "I'm sorry. I'll never do something like that again." I'm sure that happens with a lot of women where their abuser says, "Hey, I'm never going to hurt you again. I'm never going to do something like that again." So just think what happens when survivors, they finally get the courage to walk away. They finally go to the law and they say, "This is what this person has done to me. This person has harmed me. This person has wronged me." You have no idea how much courage that takes. And what are they met with once they finally muster up their courage? They're met with criticism. They're met with skeptics. They're met with a legal system that lets their abusers win. If you're still listening,